Hey solos, welcome to Solo Magic, the new podcast about the magic of going to Disney World solo. I am Samantha, I am your host, and if you have already subscribed, you know that we just launched this podcast this week. On Monday was our very first episode. Next Monday will be our second episode, and this is already a bonus episode. So I said in the last episode, I'm sure there'll be some bonus episodes, but this one is actually timely. So I was like, let's just get it up right away. In this bonus episode, I get to talk with Amanda from D3 Darlins, specifically about Dapper Day that is happening at Walt Disney World later this month. And so I wanted to make sure that you got the episode early. That you got the episode early in April so that if you are thinking of coming to Disney World later in the month, or if you are Dapper Day curious, or you're kind of interested in other adults who go to Disney and really get all dressed up, then you can kind of start thinking about these other types of meetup groups that do the very thing that you want to do. Dress up, walk around, take pictures in really cool outfits. So I want to make sure that this episode got up in time for you to kind of think about that, or even if you're not able to go this April, to start following all of these people on Instagram and Facebook so you can be prepared for the next Dapper Day. Oh, okay, so you haven't understood a word I said when I said D3 Darlins and Dapper Day? Okay, let me give you a quick little summary. So at Disneyland in California, because it opened in the 1950s, locals usually, started coming to Disneyland in clothing from the 1950s. And it became kind of a popular thing. People would meet up, they would get together, they would do these things together, they would take pictures. It was really awesome. So then people were like, you know what, we should organize this so that more people can come on this day that maybe aren't local but could come from out of town. And so Dapper Day was born because people would dress up in these vintage clothes and look very dapper. And it became really popular. And so now they also have events at Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris. This is not organized by Disney, so it's not like you can ask a cast member, when is Dapper Day? Instead, it is a external third party, essentially a meetup group, and people get together. And now Dapper Day in Walt Disney World is a whole weekend. So on the 20th of April, Dapper Day, quote, is going to be at Epcot, and on the 21st, it's going to be at Magic Kingdom. Now, I quite like vintage aesthetics. I dress with a lot of retro touches in my normal life. And last year was the very first time I went to Dapper Day, and I was like, oh my God, I met my people. And that's one of the magic things about solo travel, that you get to meet people with similar interests that are kind of outside your normal day-to-day circle. So all of a sudden, you have this network of friends all over the country or all over the continent who share this similar interest, but you don't necessarily see them every day. And of course, we all grew up with the internet. Well, I guess many of us grew up with the internet, so this is not a rare thing for us to think about. But to be able to get together in person to do these things is so, so special. And a group like the D3 Darlins don't just do Dapper Day. They've become this really cool group of friends that get together for other events at Universal, or they create their own events, and they get all dressed up and they get to know each other, and they become a real supportive circle. And so when you are traveling solo, especially to Disney World, and you want to do some of these things with other people, you can look for these other meetup groups, because the D3 Darlins aren't the only ones. There's a lot of groups that will get together at Dapper Day, but also it's it's kind of like an onion or a Russian doll worth of groups, because you get to see one of them and then you get to meet other people, and it's been really awesome. And because it's not a Disney sponsored event, again, you can't ask a cast member, but if you ask people in all dressed up, hey, do you know when there's going to be the next meetup, the next photo opportunity? They will probably have saw things on Facebook or Instagram and be able to tell you, because that's how I found out about it last year. Someone was just oh, by the way, meet at noon at this area for the photo. I was like, oh, Oh, there's a photo? Okay, cool. So, anyway, this is a very long preamble, but Amanda was so wonderful. She took time out of her little staycation, and I can't wait to meet Amanda and all the D3 Darlins this year at Dapper Day in person. So, anyway, please enjoy my little bonus episode with her. Please follow me on Instagram, Disney_solo_magic, and follow the D3 Darlins on Instagram as well as Facebook. Follow Dapper Day on Instagram and Facebook. And please make sure you subscribe and rate this podcast so that other people get to know about it. And look forward to a new episode next week. Amanda, thank you so much for agreeing to be like our first special guest on the Solo Magic
Oh,
podcast.
thank you for having us. I'm so happy to be representing the D3 Darlings, and it's so much fun to be in like Disney, and I've done solo travel too, so I'm so interested in your podcast.
Well, thank you. Last April was the first time I did Dapper Day, and it was such a fun
Yes.
weekend. And so, like, talk about like Dapper Day and then, but really the D3 Darlings, because like you just don't do Dapper Day, you do so
Yeah.
much more.
So the D3 Darlings started around Dapper Day, and Dapper Day, everybody comes in. It started with vintage clothing, but it's grown into so much more. There's people that create their own outfits. They follow patterns, specialty designers make these patterns, and there's a huge following for them. Not only do we do that, we do these other events besides Dapper Day where we dress up and we do themes. Our latest theme was a whole green event for St. Patty's Day. And we also did mental health awareness where we all checked in on each other and saw how each other were doing, because after the holidays, we all know it's stressful. And March is like definitely the day, the month of like, okay, what happened? What did we do during December? And like, did we get through it?
Yeah. Yeah, and also, I mean, for those people who live in places where there's actual seasons, like
Yeah,
in March,
we
you're
don't
coming
have
out of the
season.
winter, and so it's like, oh, let's just touch base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
So,
always hot in Florida.
and so it seems like the D3 Darlins is like its own kind of collective. Is it mainly women?
Yeah, we're like our own community of like just fashion forward
Awesome.
friends and fans. Some days we'll have like maybe three people at an event because everybody's busy and life happens, and maybe you aren't into that theme. And then there's other events like our villain event in October, which we also have Pink Witch event. Those two are our
So
biggest
fun.
events. Pink Witch is at Universal, and everybody does a different intake of their Pink Witch, and we go all over Universal. And then villains, we have a different villain theme each year, and we go to a different Disney theme park, and we do villains take over that kingdom.
It's so interesting, like the creativity and the collection. And it also seems because like this podcast, Solo Magic, is about the magic of going to Disney World solo.
Yeah,
And it seems like connecting with a group like this makes it so much more magical because you get to like dress up and connect and have and like meet friends.
yeah. So we have friends that like will drive 3.5 hours just to come for the day for that event, because they don't want to really go to Disney solo and they want to dress up because they feel a little awkward. And with the group, it's more fun with everybody because we're taking photos, we're meeting the characters, we're doing the rides, we're trying the new foods that are at the food festivals. As you see, I have a little one, so
Yeah.
I usually bring my little one every once in a while, and it helps me even get a break because they'll take over and play with her for a few minutes, and I can enjoy that drink at Epcot for 5, 10 minutes.
Yeah, totally. But like it also seems like if you go to one of these events, even if you don't like connect ahead of time, you can be like, "Hey, can we be friends?" And it'd be like,
Yes,
"Yeah,
so we
no,
pick up
great."
stragglers. We will go to Disney and we'll be like, somebody will be there solo and they'll be dressed up and they'll be like, I didn't know we could dress up today and go with friends, and we'll just bring them along. And we've met so many more darlings that way of just, oh wow, you're here at Disney alone. Come hang out with us.
And I don't know if you mentioned how long has D3 Darlins been like organizing?
So we've been around for about 7 years. In June will be our anniversary event, which we usually do at Universal now because they cater to us so nicely.
That's
They
nice.
set up a private room for us to have dinner or lunch, and it's really really nice.
That's awesome.
Um,
That's great.
but we do a theme for that one. Last year was Monsters on Vacation, so everybody took a classic monster. I was a Dracula on vacation, and I had like the white on my nose and a lay, and I had the vampire teeth and everything.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
So how
The
can
pictures
people
are online somewhere.
on
I'm sure they're on the
Instagram?
Facebook.
On
Either
Instagram?
Instagram or on the Facebook.
Okay, because that's what I wanted to know. Like, how can people get in touch with you? How can people become a darling?
So we do post our photos sometimes on Instagram, mostly the group photos, but we do spotlight people on our story. So anybody
Cool.
who's like following us and tags us, they do spotlight. But all of our stuff is mostly on Facebook, and it's a private group, so not everybody sees it. So you got to like just fill out a couple of questionnaires, and it's easy ones like, do you like bow ties, and what's your favorite color? So it's not like mathematical questions. It's just so we know that you're a real person.
When you said bow
But we
ties, I thought you were going to say Botox, and I was like, oh,
no,
this is a
not
different type
both.
of group.
Well, if you want to get Botox, that's
Yeah, no,
fine.
that's
But
true. It'd be weird though
and
if it was a prerequisite for this group.
yes,
It seems, yeah.
and you don't have to sew. You don't have to be vintage. You can buy your stuff off of Amazon. I buy my stuff off of Amazon a lot. If
Yeah.
not, the Torrid clearance rack, even on this dress. And we just dress it up. Somebody does like hair pieces. One girl does purses. There's a unique person in the group for everything. So even if you're looking for that person that, can you help me make something? You can always ask out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so wonderful. I think it's such a great way, especially like, if you're a grown adult and you want to go to these parks and you want to do things and you don't even know
Yes.
like how to, this is a great way to start.
We have all
Sorry.
ages.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All ages. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So our some of our founding members are in their 70s, and
Wow.
they're Ray and Jonine, and they are amazing. They dress all vintage. They even have down to the baby carriage that my little Lucy was in at one of the Dapper days as a little lemon, and we have the photos from that too.
Yeah, that's great because I always think about like elder millennials because that's my age group,
Mhm.
but I forget that there are like so many people that are young at heart or like kind of young adults, like in their 20s, that are
Yes.
also like thinking about doing this.
And it's not only the big age. We don't discriminate about anybody. We have one girl who is a official mermaid, and she's in a
Okay.
wheelchair, and she's a mermaid. She identifies, and we love her, and she's a blast. She comes with some of the greatest outfits too.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, well, we will look out for all these new friends.
Yes.
So I know with Dapper Day, it's not an official Disney event. And so Disney also
No.
doesn't like sanction or promote any like gatherings, but there is a secret web of musterings about where people can get together for things like photos.
Yeah. So for Dapper Day, there's about, I would say, 4 different meetups I know of so far. There's going to be the Pinup Central meetup. There's going to be the Latin blog meetup. There's going to be our meetup. I think our meetup's either at 2 or 4.
I think it's
I'm
at
not.
4. That's what I saw on your
Yeah,
Instagram. Yeah.
I'm. We've been going back and forth about it because I know there's one at 1 o'clock with Simpling Styling, and they're meeting over at one of the areas in Epcot. So we were trying to be close to them, but not too close. And that was the other thing, is trying to find an area that everybody can commingle and not disturb guests, because we're not there to like harass the guests. We're not there to ruin people's vacations. We're just there to have our own vacation and enjoy the parks and look pretty.
Yeah. Look very pretty.
Yeah.
So again, it's not official. Don't ask a cast member, but like you can go on
Yes.
your Instagram, for example, see when the meetup is. You can go on some of the Facebook groups. And so if you're going by yourself to Dapper Day, this is a great way to then like meet other people who do the same thing. And I know when I went last year, I didn't go solo, but I didn't go with someone who was also dappering, and I was like, I feel like I just want to like go hang out with those people. Like, and it would have been super easy. Like it was such a friendly thing. And like everyone was taking pictures. And so if you don't want to go and dress up, but just want to see what it's like and take pictures, it's also such a great
Yeah, it's
opportunity.
a great time to people watch. We have so
Yeah.
many different people that do unique things. One girl one year brought sunglasses, and everybody took pictures in the sunglasses.
So fun.
Um, Akid does prom photos. So he scours the internet for the most awkward prom photos. And that's like an epic thing. If you find Haki and you get to be in a prom photo, you made Dapper Day.
I did see him last year in December in Animal Kingdom, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What are they doing?" Got it. I got it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awkward prom photos.
Yeah. Oh, Amanda, this was so great. I'm so extra excited about Dapper Day, but I'm also excited that you were able to talk about like how it's a really great opportunity for people who go by
Yeah.
themselves to like enter this world. Thank you.
I really hope to see more people coming because I started off by myself. I was a solo person. I actually had just lost my family and I was like, I need something to get me out of this funk. And I
Yeah.
met Marina and it just roller coastered from there. And I've been a darling ever since.
And did you go to Dapper Day dressed up that first year, like wanting to be in the magic, or
So
did
I
you?
went just dressed up because I wanted the photos because I
Yeah,
saw that Magic Kingdom would bring out the specialty cars and different like specialty moments. Like they even had a picnic one year that you could
adorable.
go and get a picnic box and go and have picnic at the pub in front of the castle. So it was like wanting to be part of the uniqueness of that. And then meeting Marina, I just fell in love with the Darlings because they just welcomed me in like I
Yeah.
had been there forever.
Yeah. That's a really great story. I can't wait to meet you in person in a
Yeah,
couple weeks. Yeah.
yes, it's coming up very shortly. Like it's less than 30 days.
I know. I have like all of my outfit pieces all like around my apartment. I have to consolidate them. And I tried on one of the dresses this weekend and I was like, oh, I think I need a backup dress.
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally have 3 dresses for Sunday that I'm like, I don't know what I should do. And I keep asking everybody, and everybody keeps going back to the original one. So I think,
Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go
Well,
with it.
I won't keep you anymore. Have a wonderful staycation. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thanks. No problem. Thanks. I can't wait to see you at Dapper Day.
I know. Likewise. Likewise. Bye.
Bye.